What is up, everybody? I am Chris Magdonis. Welcome to the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. Today is a little something we're going to try called the NHL Offseason Preview. Obviously, you can see behind me the Shark Tank over in San Jose is going to be none other than the San Jose Sharks, who won the 2024 NHL Draft Lottery. Again, this is a bit of a new project we're doing over here at Vendetta, and it should be exciting. We're going to go from worst to first, look at every team's cap situation, their roster, draft picks, you name it, and we are going to take a little look and see what their team may look like for the start of the 2024-25 NHL season. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. I'm going to be sharing my screen here. A big shout out first and foremost goes to the people over at Cap Friendly and Elite Prospects. They are a huge help, and pretty much all the information you're going to see here today is thanks to these two websites. Help me get a real better idea of what we're doing over in San Jose. Obviously, they are led by none other than Mike Grier. You can take a look on the site. Trey has had a lot to say about Mike Grier and his job over the past few years. And just diving right into it, you saw a $49 million cap hit right now. Going to be a lot of cap space over in San Jose. But that does not come without a little bit of salary retention. We're going to be looking at all this in a little bit more. But you can see here with Brent Burns, Erik Karlsson, Tomas Hertl, that's a lot of cap you're holding on to over the next few years. And as a bottom-feeding team, a rebuilder, does not really make a ton of sense to be holding on to that kind of cap. It's better to have some flexibility when you're looking at your retained salary. Gives you some flexibility with your expiring free agents. And obviously, after next season, they will be able to hold on to some money after the Brent Burns contract runs out over in Carolina. But let's just take a look again at the top. A lot of draft picks and a lot of high draft picks, which is a good thing for the San Jose Sharks. Obviously, they have the number one pick in this year's draft, which will undoubtedly go to Macklin Celebrini from Boston University. He will be a face of the franchise almost immediately for the Sharks. And you look, over the first three rounds of this year's draft, the Sharks have 5 picks, definitely positioning themselves to add to a prospect pool, which, again, they've been at the bottom of the league for the past few years. It's almost hard not to build up a good farm system when you're picking at the top of the draft and at the top of the main 3 rounds as often as they are. You look here, they have a number of top prospects. You look at Quentin Musty over in Sudbury of the OHL. He had a really good season for them. Definitely they're going to give him another year down in the minor leagues over in Canada, but he is a face to look out for in their future. And if you looked at headlines, apologies, I do not know if his name is Luca Cagnoni. Again, I apologize for that pronunciation. He was signed to an entry-level contract over in San Jose. I would say he's probably going to be starting in the American Hockey League for 24-25, but he's another name who could refresh that blue line over in San Jose. But the main name I want to look at, aside from Celebrini, is, of course, Will Smith. Had a really good year for Boston College. I think he's going to make the jump to the NHL. I have not seen any reports recently on what his decisions are among the front office, but Will Smith, he's one of those building blocks over in San Jose. He's going to be a face for a very long time, kind of taking on the mantle that the likes of Logan Couture, Burns, of course, Joe Thornton kind of built in yesteryear. And it's an exciting farm they've got. Again, as I said earlier, if you're not adding quality prospects, then what are you really doing if you're Mike Grier? There's a lot of decent guys here that are going to contribute at the NHL level within the next 2 or 3 years. And another name, again, you'll see he was acquired in the Timo Meier deal last year with the Devils. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, but Shakir, he should be in the NHL if I had to guess for 24-25. I feel like it just makes too much sense. You know, he's had some AHL experience, was one of the main pieces of New Jersey's farm system. Obviously, there were other top prospects when Timo Meier was dealt, but it ended up being Shakir. Just looking down here, Tommy Bordelot, that's another name that should be at the NHL level. I know when we look at their cap situation, he is an RFA currently, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm not a prospect expert by any means, but when you look at the big names, some of the top prospects for the NHL's upcoming season, I can kind of piece together a few guys. We're going to be moving back towards cap friendly. Again, $38 million in cap space. Even when you look at that retained cap they have, that is a lot of money. And I would expect Mike Grier to be very active in free agency, kind of picking up some veteran guys. One of the examples that I really think of was last year when the Anaheim Ducks picked up Alex Killorn. I think it was 4 years and $25 million. They're going to eat into that cap space. They have to. Obviously, they're going to retain some flexibility, but I think you got to add some veteran guys, some people who have been around in the NHL, so that all of this young talent can have a locker room veteran to look up to. And obviously, looking here, we have Logan Couture, some of these other veterans who were on the injured reserve. They will be back, and obviously, they will be contributing to some of that $38 million cap hit. Looking again at the forward group, you see Mikael Granlund, one of the headliners from the Erik Karlsson trade last year. I do not think that San Jose is going to move on from him. You have one more year left at $5 million. You might as well hold on to him. Let him be an older veteran for the guys to listen to in the locker room. Again, Klim Kostin, he's going to be sticking around. Nico Sturm, all of these guys that are under contract, obviously for pretty much pennies on the dollar, they're going to stay around because they need someone to reach the cap floor with. And again, you talk about guys at the NHL level that are a part of the future. Look no further than William Eklund. I think he is going to be one of the top line guys moving forward for the Sharks. And of course, Fabian Zetterlund, another name I believe picked up in the Timo Meier deal. He's going to be sticking around for the long haul. And in terms of who I'd keep around, obviously I brought up Bordeleau. I think they're going to find a way to bring him. I think Luke Kunin. Again, I'm not the best with these names, my apologies. I think there will be interest around the league to try and pick up his RFA rights, but if I had to guess, I think they would bring him back. Along with Jack Studnicka, that was another name kind of picked up, I believe that was with Vancouver. Let me looking really quick here. A Boston Bruins former draft pick. And yes, he was with the Vancouver Canucks, sent over to the San Jose Sharks. And obviously didn't really get too much run, only 17 games, no points. But obviously, you need guys to fill up the cap floor. I think he's going to be sticking around for at least the next season. In terms of other UFAs, I would say maybe Mike Hoffman comes back. Obviously, Alex Barabanov will not be coming back. I could see Justin Bailey, a world where he signs another one-year deal. Even Ryan Carpenter, Kevin LeBanc, he is a veteran. He's put in his time with the Sharks. I think he's going to be moving on in free agency. And obviously, on the blue line, really the only last remnant of that 2016 Stanley Cup final team, along with the captain Logan Couture, is Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Signed up for $7 million for the next 2 seasons. I don't think he's going anywhere, especially when you think about the retention slots that I was speaking on earlier. You got to assume Vlasic is going to be a part of this picture at least one more year. Mario Ferraro, another kind of up-and-coming guy. I could see him sticking around into the medium term. Not sure about the long term 100%. Jan Ruda, I think he could pick up some interest on the trade market. Veteran teams. Obviously, he was a part of that Lightning blue line a couple years ago. And Kyle Burrows, I think that's another name. Former Islander, of course. I think he could be traded. But Kalen Addison, I think he'll be back. I don't think there's really any reason for him to walk or get traded, along with Henry Thrun. I think, of course, he's not a normal RFA. He's a Group 2 status. And Jacob McDonald, I think that's a bit of a knuckle burger. And then, of course, we have gone after Mike Grier for a number of reasons, as I went on about the salary retention. But the whole situation in net, Mackenzie Blackwood has one more year. I think they're going to keep him. Maybe a contender at the deadline will come calling, but 2 former Devils in Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek, I think that's going to be your starting goalie duo. No real reason to kind of shake it up there. You're not in a position, as the Sharks are still rebuilding, to find your goalie of the future. I think I wouldn't really worry about that right now. Matt Benning, I think he could stick around as a third pair guy. And of course, as we touched on, Logan Couture, I think they'll also sign Ty Emberson to a deal. But let's not waste any more time. One of my favorite parts about Cap Friendly, of course, is the Armchair GM tool. It can really give people a better sense of what the hockey community thinks about these teams. So let's just look straight at the San Jose Sharks. See what some of these users have been putting in. Obviously, Will Smith coming up on an entry-level deal. Matthias Haviland as well. and of course the number 1 pick, Max Celebrini. And looking a little closer here, again, Ty Emberson, Luke Kunin's coming back, Bordelot. They're all going to be getting deals around the 1 million mark, aside from Kunin. Josh Bailey, former Islander, I'd be surprised to see that personally. A reunion with Anthony Duclair. I don't really know if he wants to go back to San Jose in their rebuilding status, but definitely a name to keep an eye out for with all that cap space. Daniel Sprong, not a bad shout. Nick Cousins, a 1-year, $3 million deal. I think that makes sense, especially around the trade deadline. He is a playoff guy, and they are going to be, there's going to be suitors in a couple of months once the season starts. I think Brett Pesce is a name to watch for the Sharks, definitely. You see that right hand side of their defense is a little thin. I think that's a good pickup for them. And as well, I was even thinking about it on the topic of the Hurricanes. I think Marty Necas is a very good shout for them. Let's see, they have Orlov here. I don't really think Carolina would want to give up on Orlov. But I think that Martin Necas is a good name for the Sharks to target. A bit of a more proven NHL scorer. A guy, if you give him a year or two with these young studs, they can definitely develop some chemistry, and that's a potential top line you have there for your longer term. And here you see Kyle Burroughs on the way out. Mikael Granlund and Matt Benning. I mean, sending it to Utah doesn't hurt to add some draft picks. I don't know why the new Utah team would give up 2 second-rounders for those 2 guys, but that's neither here or there. Again, you see they're loading up on the draft capital, and it's pretty good. I mean, thinking about what other people may have said, I think Sprong is a good pick. I think Pesce's a very good pick for this team. I don't know about Orlov again, but again, Blackwood and Vanacek, I think that's a pretty normal idea that most people have. But this is definitely a very interesting kind of adaptation of what the Sharks could look like next year. Again, Canes fan, I think no reason to give up on Orlov. Hard pass. Yeah, Orlov is not a cap dump. See a few more, and then I'll try my hand at this. Someone says, if Dallas wins the Stanley Cup, we have a Joe Pavelski reunion. Bailey, Cooley, Matt Dumba, Brady Shea. Again, I think they're going to be active on the blue line. That's definitely an area where I could see Mike Grier spending some of this money in free agency. Bordelot getting traded to Seattle. All right, that's a lot of. I guess that includes a move up in the draft. Again, Celebrini, Granlund, all these guys. I could see a world where Joe Pavelski signs with the Sharks for one last ride if he wins the whole thing with Dallas. But again, we are in the thick of the playoffs. I'll be very interested in seeing how all this shakes out. Giovanni Smith, he will definitely be there. Will Carrier on board. Again, Matt Dumba is an interesting name for the Sharks. Let's see. Smith coming up. Celebrini. Ilya Mikheyev. All right, you take a 2nd-round pick. That's a cap dump. I don't think that's a terrible idea. You take Nate Schmidt from the Winnipeg Jets, another cap dump. I mean, I don't think the Sharks would take Jack Campbell's money. I don't think they would help a division rival out that much. Ristolainen could happen. And a Mackenzie Blackwood deal to the LA Kings. Again, you see all those draft picks. That is the goal right now. Coach Shore. I think I saw someone else on Cap Friendly say this. I think putting Will Smith on the wing, if he does make it to the NHL roster this year, I think that makes a little more sense for him. Obviously, he's a human highlight reel with the puck on his stick. I think it makes more sense. Let him acclimate to the NHL a little better on the wing. I think all these people are on the money. Nate Schmidt, again, I don't really know. All right, we'll take a look at one more. Let's see. Grier Masterclass, Contract Dump Edition. Let's see. Smith's coming up, Bordelot. That's another thing I've seen. I don't know what the future of Philip Zadina looks like in San Jose. I've seen some simulations send him out, some keep him around. I personally think he will be shipped out. Celebrini, Ryan Johansson, Tanner Jano. You have Eklund, Granlund, Zetterlund. I think they're gonna make a run at a forward as well. Even though I did just say they will be looking at the blue line. I don't know. Some interesting Flyers trades. Obviously, that guy just said with Johansson, Ben Sherratt. I would be a big help for Detroit. And obviously, we just saw Jano. I think the Lightning are absolutely going to trade Tanner Jano. I'm not sure where. I don't think he would waive his no-trade clause to go to San Jose. But that'll definitely be a name to watch. But let's give it a try, people. Let's create. All right. Let's see. I don't think I'll publish this. I will just have this all here. Let's see. Lefty, center. All right. So, I'm going to be a little adventurous. I'm going to be going for a Martin Necas trade. Again, this is his RFA rights. He doesn't really have much of a say. I'm sure San Jose is not his first stop that he'd like to go to, but just for argument's sake, let's do it. So, in exchange for Necas, give him Zadina's rights. I think Carolina could easily strike a deal with Zadina and find a way to make him a good player. Let's find their draft picks. Click draft picks. All right. So obviously they're going to be picking Celebrini here. I think Devil's second round pick. I think Vegas's first round pick. It's all there. Maybe a fourth. Just to sweeten the pot a little bit. I think that would be very good for Mike Grier. I think that would give him some credibility. Let's see, let's find his RFA. Let's find Marty Necas. Give him a 6-year deal. He's going to be wanting some money. I would probably do 6 years, $47 million. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's 7.833333. So you have your top line. You have Celebrini. Oh, I can't move him, but the point stands. Let's go to free agency. Let's get another UFA. Not Tyson Barrie. I don't see that. Let's get again. Carolina should really bring back Brett Pesce, but I just for this video's sake, we're going to be going with a signing for the Sharks. So let's say a bit of an overpay, or call it what you will. 6 years, $39 million, so it's going to be $6.5 million. You have Brett Pesce there. I think him and Mario Ferraro, that's I'd say at least a league average top pair right there. Jan Ruda, I think he's going to be here. I think they'll keep Burrows. You know what? We're going to do this. I forgot about these guys. All right. And let's also, of course, these guys. Oops. Sorry, everyone. Where is Will Smith? Is he supposed to show up in here? Guess not. Sign reverbless, actually. Here we go. I think Will Smith's going to be here. he's definitely going to be making the jump. 950. All right, Will Smith's in the fold. All right, so this is where things start to get fun. You've got Smith. Giovanni Smith is going to be down there. Marty's going to be up here. That's a top line. That's something to work with, right? Sharks fans, you have Eklund, Granlund. Your number one center will be hiding somewhere, if not Macklin Celebrini. I think it'll be Klim Kostin, Coach Shore, Will Smith. I think that makes sense. I don't think you want to put too much pressure on Celebrini. Obviously, with Bedard in Chicago, they kind of just gave him the keys. I don't really know if it's that same situation with Mac. Let's see. Who else can come up? Here's Shakir. I'm gonna move him up. I do see, now that I think about it, Kyle Burrows definitely does seem more like a stretch. Let's get some more forwards and one more, maybe defenseman. Let's see, he might, again, Musty might make it to the AHL, I'm not sure. I actually like Nick Cousins. I'm not going to copy off the guy that just made it, but in that similar ilk. Let's see. Carey, I remember that. Another one. Let's see, people. Again, if you think I'm an idiot, if you'd rather build the Sharks a different way, feel free to build it up in the comments. I'm going to be signing Zemgus Girgensons. Let's do 2 for 2. And that's about where he's at in his career. Would anyone object? Did I do 20 million or 2? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 1. All right. Again, just a middle six guy. And let's see where we're at cap-wise. 19 million in cap space. So obviously, people will definitely be taking it to the extreme. You can go in a variety of different ways with this team. But for this video, I'm going to find another 13th forward type of guy. Why not the man I just mentioned, Mike Hoffman? 1 year, $1 million. And that could pretty much be what your San Jose Sharks look like. Again, top 6 is a little thin, especially when you get past that first line. But Mike Grier knows better than me. You are not in a position to contend right now. Again, you have a top line of Eklund, Granlund, Marty Necas. That's a bit of a pipe dream. I think he will be finding his way if he leaves Carolina to a different team. But if I were running the Sharks, I would try to be aggressive for him. Second line, Klim Kostin, Couture, Will Smith. I mean, you could easily go up, and if you really wanted to, let's look at the trade market one more time. And I look at, you have names. You can look at Ottawa, right? You can see what kind of guys they got. Nope, wrongs. Do you want to try and pick up one of Ottawa's young guys and add them to your core? Obviously not any of the big names like Stützle or Brady Tkachuk. But, you try and make a play for like Shane Pinto and his RFA rights. He obviously, after serving the gambling suspension, he came back and had a pretty good year. Josh Norris even. Things unfortunately have not really panned out for him. But obviously, as you can see, there's a lot of different ways this team could go. I'll try to see if I can just do this. Oops. Do you want to get like a Jason Zucker? I'm sure he may, he wants to win. I forget if he was on Pittsburgh when they won the cup. Probably not. Or even like a Jakub Vrana. Like a 1 year, $3 million type of deal. Obviously that's very much within their wheelhouse. Make Colin Graf. I mean, look, I kind of didn't really build this team exactly ideally, because you have some good guys that probably would not want to play in the fourth line, but just how it goes. But people, this was pretty quick. Again, you can tell I'm not the biggest Sharks fan. Let me know what you think in the comments. I am Chris Bagdonis, trying my hand to build the San Jose Sharks for 2024-2025 again. This has been episode 1 of the Vendetta Sports Media NHL Offseason Review. We've got more coming through the pipeline. Obviously, this is one of 32. Keep your eyes posted on the playoffs. Again, we are going based on the standings from worst to first. And everyone, have a great day. We'll see you next time.